Hello artists. Today I'm going to show you some of the illustration work of my friend Winslow Penny-Pels. This is Winslow on a little Mongolian horse in Mongolia, and that was a trip she took for the preparation of this book that she illustrated. The name of the book is Miss Baba in the Doorknob of Destiny. All of the illustrations in the book, including the cover and the end pages, were done primarily in Prismacolor colored pencils over washes of different colors. And here's the cover. The end pages map. This is, I think, the second in a series of mystery books that she had written for kids about 8 to 9 years old, and they involve a poodle named Miss Baba who has a school for young dogs, and she sort of gets in adventures a little bit like Miss Marple type. Winslow did the lettering also that is drawn. Lots of little spot vignettes that are wonderful in this book. All the characters are animals. Many of them are dogs, and a lot of them are based on her own pets. For instance, Miss Baba is based on a poodle that she had named Baba. She had another little poodle named Ula, and Ula is the inspiration for the young princess in the story. And she had a dog also named Trotwood, who was a poodle. And this little basset hound was based on a dog she had named Dinah. So with all kinds of artists, very often illustrators are getting the inspiration or subjects for their books from people and animals all around them. These are very wonderful. The nice thing about this book and this series in particular, she has so many little wonderful spot illustrations. It really was harken back to books of old. She actually had difficulty getting these books published because they were seen as being old-fashioned in the way they were written. They thought that they were too difficult for children of today, and they thought that the detail of the illustrations was something that kids wouldn't be interested in, which is sad. A young person reading this book could learn a lot about Mongolia, about the architecture, some of the customs. Here they are on a train. Here's a night scene. You're able to get a very rich, deep color, if you want, with colored pencil by layering layer upon layer. You can also have very subtle, quicker drawings. If you're going to think you might like to be an illustrator, it would be interesting for you to start investigating what it's like now, things that they're looking for in books. Different publishers have very different ideas. The market changes continually. Here's another book that she did for Scholastic, The Magic Fish. It's the story, The Magic Fish, that there have been many retellings. This is a book that she did for Scholastic, and it turned out to be a great thing. This, and I think also Hansel and Gretel, because they're such popular stories and libraries and classrooms purchase it all the time, she's able to make a yearly income from this book because it's one that's always going into print. If you see in this book particularly, and in some of her work at this time, There's a real almost mannered positioning of the figures. The shapes of the clothing are flattened out a little bit to exaggerate. She does a lot of beautiful things with fabric. Erin, I could see you using things like this. Your work with fabric this year has been so nice. Maybe yours is a little more lyrical than this. This was another Bassett. That's her Bassett Dinah was the inspiration for that. She spends a lot of time looking at hands and the faces, almost a kabuki-like, very slow gesturing that expresses a lot. The hands, face, very dramatic. Here you can see in this a lot of emphasis on the shapes. Again, the drama in the hands and the face to express. Little details that make an illustration interesting. I'm going to show you some that you will be able to see some artwork from. We have some artwork that I'll show you in the next video from Iron John. These have an emphasis on texture and pattern. There's a real medieval feel to them. These are wonderful. Look at that. Since some of you in class have an interest in fantasy art, this would be a great book for you to try to look at. Some of you might, for concentration, decide to concentrate on an illustration. I know, Erin, you expressed that interest. You can, if you have an area that particularly of art that would reinforce the story, this time period of art that she researched for this reinforces the story. Here you can see the rich, dense color that you can get. With colored pencils, you can also get excellent detail. The trick to that is sharpening, 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 constant sharpening. Love this end paper. Little dragons. This book has a more subtle color to it, lots of grays, lots of neutrals. Tomorrow, or today if I have time, we'll do another video showing some of the prep work for this and for Iron John and for another book called Noble-Hearted Kate. Here's a quick look at Noble-Hearted Kate. It's a very beautiful illustration. And we'll be able to see an illustration for this book in a couple different levels of prep. It's funny. Once again, little details that kids love to look at while they're thinking about their book.